This is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. Tom Thibodeau is out as the Minnesota Timberwolves head coach. He will be replaced by assistant coach Ryan Saunders. He has been named the interim head coach by the Wolves. They'll also have a vacancy at team president. The NFL playoffs kicked off over the weekend. It was the Colts over the Texans 21-7 in Houston. The Cowboys held on for a 24-22 win at home over the Seahawks. Rookie quarterback Lamar Jackson struggled for most of the afternoon for the Ravens against the Chargers, and his last gasp effort in the closing minutes came up short in the Chargers' 23-17 win in Baltimore. And Bears kicker Cody Parkey, stop me if you've heard this one before, clanged a game-winning 43-yard field goal off the upright to give Nick Foles and the Eagles a narrow 16-15 victory in Chicago. And your Sacramento Kings had yesterday off, but they're back at it again tonight at home at the Golden One Center against the Orlando Magic. The Kings looking to snap a 4-game losing skid. Our coverage on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 5:30. Kings Live is at 6:30 and tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. It's 7:02. Time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, 800-551-3040. Those are your top stories. And now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what? Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning. You're going to talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
They lead it, 86-78. Cauley-Stein with a turn and a jump hook, no good. Tipped out to Fox, throws to Cauley-Stein on the move. To Hield in the corner for 3 more. Buddy Buckets delivers the triple. Buddy Hield knocking down another 3-pointer. He's got 21, 4th straight game that he's scored 20 or more. Warriors leading by 2, 5:10 to go, and a steal by De'Aaron Fox. We're in the third quarter at Golden Ones. Fox ahead to Cauley-Stein, drives in the lane. Two-hand, crank it up, throw it down, big-time style. Willie Cauley-Stein. Game tied at 86. Here's Hield, who's made 7 3-pointers, giving it up to Bogdanovich. Rolls hard right, pulls up at the free throw line. Head fake out to Justin Jackson for 3. He's got the bucket. Justin Jackson gets his second 3-pointer. It's the 16th that the Kings have made in 24 attempts. 15 points for Justin Jackson. Kings' biggest lead, 4 points, 94-90. Bogey into the paint, right side of the lane. Hooks a pass over his shoulder to Jackson. Jackson can't get the shot. He's smothered by Iguodala, gives it up to Hield. 5 on the shot clock. Buddy probes, pulls up. He rings down a 2-ball just inside the arc. 29 for Hield. 96-90. 14 of the 29 in this quarter. Steal. Bogdanovich races straight up the floor. Left wing feed. Buddy stops. Buddy fires. Buddy with a career high 8 3-pointer. Kings by 9. 99-90. Inbounds pass goes to Bogdanovich. Leaves it for Harry Giles. Left elbow extended. Hands it off to Hield. Gives it back. Oh, he takes it. He faked the handoff. He looked like Peyton Manning. I heard somebody calling Omaha. Omaha. He faked the handoff, and he rolled to the rack, and he ripped it with a right-hand jam. 103-94. What a play by Harry Giles. Here's Durant stepping into another 3, rims it out. Justin Jackson has the rebound. 5:20 and counting. The Kings look for the lead. Fox skips to the near side to Bogey. Gives to Jackson, feeling it for the triple. Justin Jackson delivers the 3-ball. Kings from 6 down a moment ago. Now on top, 113-111. They've scored 8 straight. Draymond on top, makes a pass that's stolen by Cauley-Stein. Willie gives it up to Buddy Hield. Hield shakes, gives to Jackson, steps into the transition 3. He's got the triple. The Kings have a new franchise record for threes made in a ball game. That number is 20. And Hield trying to create against Klay Thompson. Forces him to take it out to 3-point range and hand it to De'Aaron Fox. Wiggles left, spins right, into the lane. Behind the back, flip off the window is good. Magic from De'Aaron Fox gives the Kings the lead, 121-120.
And that's how the game would end. Kings win 121-120.
Nope, they lost. They lost 127-123.
That De'Aaron Fox highlight, your Peckus Brothers moment of the game, get the spectacular backyard you've always wanted with beautiful Peckus Brothers patios and or sunrooms. Oh, yeah, the best price, best value guaranteed. My goodness, what is that on the horizon? Oh, yeah, that's Peckus Brothers. Shut up, Kyle. Kings lose. Warrior fan, Kyle. Face. Yeah. Did you expect all that flame?
No.
Yeah, I bet you
Wasn't
did.
ready for it.
All right. So,
Hey,
yeah.
the highlight of Buddy Hield's 8 3-pointer, where he had hit the one, they got the steal. All that was going through my head when they kicked it out to him was you going, the Kings are 0 for whatever on bring the house down threes this year.
That was what they.
And he buried it.
Yeah, we've got
they got one.
We got the Bogdan against the Lakers. That's a bring down the house, obviously, the buzzer beater. And then I feel like there was a couple. That Justin Jackson, the last one before he tried the heat check and missed. But Justin Jackson had one. We actually had 2 bring down the house threes. There was a lot, actually, in that game. That was such a fun game to watch. Stupid on the text line, shockingly from the 209. Why do you keep playing highlights? They lost. Kings suck. Quit trying to trick Kings fans. Thank you, Stupid.
Hey, don't engage. Don't engage.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I just wanted to shout him out.
Right.
Or her.
We don't do shout-outs.
Shout out to Stupid.
And shout out to Bentley, the official 3-year-old.
The official 3-year-old of the drive, Bentley. So there's a lot to get into at 7:35, and unfortunately, this is a short segment. But some people can't listen then, so I'm going to throw some things out.
Can I throw something out real quick?
I would love
before
for
you get into
to.
that?
I would love
because
for you
it's
to.
7:08 and it's time.
Oh, sorry.
It's time to get ready for the International Sportsman's Expo, January 17th through the 20th at Cal Expo. Get tickets at sportsexpos.com.
My dad, T-minus 10 seconds, so I got a text from my dad asking for passes. Also, shout out to Kent from Ultimate Bass, who every year hand delivers tickets to me to give to my dad. He's done that for many, many years. Very nice guy. As a Kings fan, I'm really content and happy today. And there was something, a combination of Buddy and a few Warriors players said after the game, and I'll paraphrase. Buddy said something like, we hung with them as long as we could. We made some mistakes down the stretch. We're coming, and they know we're coming. And it may not be this year. Heck, it may not be next year, but it's happening. Like and the Warriors completely echoed that. There was an NBA record. What was it? 41 3-pointers made in this game.
Bananas.
Buddy, no 3-pointers. Buddy
No.
Hield has been playing like an all-star for the last month.
I'm sure there were bananas post-game, maybe.
Maybe, I guess.
Maybe
Peanut butter and
pregame.
jelly, perhaps. Yeah. The Sacramento Kings just lost 4 straight games to 4 almost certain playoff teams in the Western Conference, which may be the most stacked conference in NBA history. And if you want to point to the LeBron-less Lakers, sure, that was a game you would have liked to have had. They're going to be in the playoffs, and that's a home game for the Lakers. That's never easy. Yes.
They could have won all 4 games.
They could have.
And I know that for some people that's a point of frustration where they go, oh, they could have won all those games. This sucks.
Sure.
But you're looking at, through this stretch of games, probably multiple double-digit losses last year.
Easily.
And they're in a position to win these games. You gotta crawl before you can walk.
Did the Warriors win the title last year?
They did.
Did they? Are they on a stretch right now of winning titles?
Yeah, they've won 3 of the last 4.
Okay.
And
yeah.
The Warriors didn't go from being bad to winning titles in 1 year.
No.
FYI.
The Sacramento Kings have played them 3 times this year. They have lost to the Warriors 3 times this year. 3 times. The grand total of deficits in those losses is 10 points. They have lost to the defending world champion 3 out of the last 4 titles: Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, by a grand total of 10 points.
And with nothing but good things about the Kings coming out of the Warriors locker room.
Well, part of me doesn't like that because I feel like it's condescending, and I know it's not. I know it's not.
It's
I know
definitely
I know it's not. They gave up a lead against the Lakers. They gave up a lead against Portland. They gave up a lead against Denver.
They're up 10 against the Warriors.
All double-digit leads. And as you said, they could have gone 4-0 down the stretch. And I hear Kings fan woulda, coulda, shoulda. Listen, again, new year, I'm not going to get mad at you and call you a dumb fan. What I am going to say is that I pity you if that's how you feel, because you need to enjoy this right now. You do. Now, I can't predict the future, but I can tell you that right now, Kyle, the Sacramento Kings have the 5th toughest schedule in the NBA. But would it surprise you Would it surprise you if I told you that for the remainder of the year, the Sacramento Kings have the 5th easiest schedule in the NBA? There are only 4 teams left in the NBA with an easier strength of schedule than the Sacramento Kings. They just got done with a 13-game stretch against 10 Western Conference playoff contenders that were a combined 51 games above 500.
And they could have won 4 of them.
And they
could have won their last 4
additional.
Right.
In their last 10, the Sacramento Kings are 3-7. They could very easily have been 7-3 against that stretch. And their next 8 games, 6 of those teams they're going to play are a combined 31 games under 500. 5 of their next 8 teams they play are on the second night of a back-to-back. Not only do you have a much poorer record of opponent, but you've got some schedule advantages in there. Now, they've got to go win the games.
Right.
They've got to go win the games.
If they start blowing double-digit leads in the second half to the Suns, then you're going to have a problem.
I'm going to have an issue.
Right.
But as it stands right now, there's no reason for me to believe. And by the way, Marvin Bagley is likely back tonight.
Yeah.
Vlade said that. It's a very nice time to be a Kings fan right now, and if you want to bet futures, now is a nice time to bet on the Kings this week. Not money, you know what I'm saying, like figure of speed.
Right.
More on this in detail at 7:35, Kyle, because I have a lot of other stuff, including strength of schedule, going through the history of this stretch, and what they have to look forward to, including something they are better than any other team in the NBA at, and that's a good thing, speaking of betting. We'll take a break. 4 Down Territory next. Obviously, we'll talk NFL playoffs. We'll do that next and at 8:05. Don't go away. Dr. Jack, we're going to talk about him next on The Drive. Sports 1140 KHTK. 4 Down Territory, brought to you by Fire Wings. 21 different flavors to choose from. Hey, that's 3 touchdowns and 3 extra points, Cody. Firewings.com. Just wing it. Question 1. Or first down. Whatever.
Was John Harbaugh right to stick with Lamar Jackson?
Let's ask John Harbaugh.
I can assure you we were considering, putting Joe in the game and all that kind of stuff. That was part of the conversation. Certainly thought about it, certainly talked about it with everybody. And I can tell you this, it was everybody was on the same page with what we did. Everybody, including Joe. So that's where it was at.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision. And I like the idea of you're not in the playoffs without Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
He got you there. You stick with the kid because he's also your future probably. You don't pull him out. Had Harbaugh pulled him out, he's going to lose respect to half the locker room. And Harbaugh, although he doesn't want to say it, he's probably thinking the same thing all of us are thinking. They're not winning the Super Bowl this year, but they could win the Super Bowl next year. So you're making decisions now predicated on the future. And, oh, by the way, they made a pretty good run at the end of the game and almost stole this thing. They had a chance to win this ball game. You stick with the kid.
Yeah, Joe Flacco wasn't winning them that game. Their offensive line was getting torched. And Lamar Jackson has a lot of work to do as a passer. We saw that all day yesterday. But you mentioned you lose half the locker room if you pull him. You also might lose Lamar Jackson.
Correct. More than anything.
That is a potentially career-wrecking decision if you pull him out of that game.
I want to go a step further
confidence factor.
With something you said, caught my ear, and then we'll move on. I think even if John Harbaugh knew for a fact that Joe Flacco was going to win that game, I don't think you make that call anyways. I don't think one win is worth killing the confidence. Now we can get into, well, he could start Lamar the next game. You're going to have a quarterback controversy. You're screwing with the kid. I don't even do it then.
And it's the same thing we talked about with the Kings and their
very
rotations.
similar.
You have Joe Flacco who's sitting there, and he's going to say, I prepare to start every week, blah, blah, blah. But he's sitting there with a beanie on.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably looking at some of the photos that Lamar Jackson's looking at. He's listening to the calls. He's doing all that, but he's not prepared to go into the game.
I love our guy Rich. I do, on the text line, but I got to tell you, and I didn't see this coming. Vegas had this as probably 100-1 odds at any point during this season of the Drive. Stupid text of the day goes to Rich.
No.
Oh, I'm dead serious.
No.
From Rich, no, exclamation points. John Harbaugh was dead wrong. What is Lamar Jackson? 6 foot, $175. He's a wide receiver, for God's sake.
Oh, my God.
Wait for it. No. That didn't get it. Wait for it. Is the NFL a sport or a platform for political correctness? I didn't see it coming from Rich.
What?
I love Did somebody, I got to make sure somebody didn't he signs it the same way every time and it's a 510. It's got to be Rich.
That's Rich.
Did somebody steal your phone? One of our
Lamar
best
Jackson's
texters.
listed at 6'2", 212, by the way.
Golly. Rich, step back, buddy. We love you, dude.
Baker Mayfield's listed at 6'1", 215.
Why does sports media keep trying to resell the public the same stuff? He's RG3 Part 2. He doesn't have...
RG3 was way better than Lamar Jackson in year one, but
he doesn't have work to do. He's just not a starting NFL I'm shocked. I'm not shocked at the text. Of course we're going to see that. I'm shocked at Rich.
I thought Rich had better takes than that.
He does. Why am I going that high? He does. He always has. He's one of our best texters.
He is.
I kind of want to go home. I kind of want to stop the show.
I do too.
Show must go on.
Just
Yeah, just go to... Oh, my God. All right. Well, no, second down, I guess.
Second down.
How disappointed are you in Rich?
Extremely disappointed. We'll make this our second down question. Kyle, that's not just the worst text of the day, and we're not even halfway through the show. That might be the worst text of the week, and it's a Monday.
It's definitely the worst text of the year.
It is the
So
worst
far.
text of 2019. Yeah, Lamar Jackson had a really, really bad 2 3/4, 3 quarters, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
But did we forget? He led them. Now, he had help from the defense. It was a team effort. Don't get me wrong. But that team changed with Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not here to say he's Peyton Manning or Johnny Unitas or who we got to see.
The issue and the argument that I will have is I don't think that style of offense they were running is sustainable today.
May not
we
be.
saw that. We saw the Chargers shut it down completely.
Sure.
That's why offense has adapted and evolved away from it.
He's also, by the way, he's also a little kid when
Right.
it comes to the NFL.
Don't say little kid.
He's a rookie. He's a young kid. I mean, I have no problems. He's a kid.
Just little kid. The language reinforces the idea that he's too small to play quarterback. When he's not.
People don't need to be stupid. He's a young kid who was thrust in that spotlight, and I get it. And
He wasn't supposed to start this
at all.
He was not ready, and you could see that in his passing.
Right.
He was not ready to pass at an NFL level, and that's why they had to run more than any other team had since the 70s.
I'm not here to say he's an all-pro, and I understand that. Well, I don't understand the RG3. I think I know why there's the RG3 comparison. We don't need to get into that. But RG3 is a guy, to the point, that had a tremendous rookie year and didn't turn around. But let's remember,
he's also way more developed as a thrower than Lamar Jackson was.
Also, this just didn't basically have his leg almost damn near amputated by a defense his rookie year, like Robert Griffin III did too, and then thrown back out there by Mike Shanahan. We'll never know what would have. Anyways, I think Rich was hacked. Third down. Jeez.
Third down.
Do you want actual question number 2 or question number 3?
No, give me. We'll do question number 2 later. Question number 3.
Are the Colts legit threats in the AFC?
I
think they are.
Yeah, I do too. I do, because they got the big mo. They got a lot of momentum. Secondly, when Andrew Luck's healthy, we're seeing it right now. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and we've known that. We as Eminem once said, blankety blanks forgot about Andrew Luck in that one song, but he was talking about Dr. Dre. People forgot about Andrew Luck.
Nowadays, that's what everybody wants to talk about.
Thank you. Move their lips, just a bunch of gibberish, and yeah, you got it. And
everybody acts.
And how about that defense?
They have enough playmakers on defense to be scary.
Yes, and that game wasn't as close as the score reflected against Houston.
No.
I told you all year, by the way,
and
Houston
it didn't
wasn't
look
for
close
real.
on the scoreboard.
No, it didn't.
You just shut up.
All year long, I told you they weren't for real. They were a paper tiger. Oh, well, they're winning a lot of games, Dave. Well, Kyle. Yeah.
I specifically asked if you believed in them, and you said no.
Did not ever believe in them. Anyways, do I think the Colts are going to come out of the AFC? I do not. Do I think that they legitimately could, though, and not just because, hey, they're still alive? Like, no, I really think they could come out of the AFC.
Right. You're looking at the odds and going, what can I get on the Colts representing the AFC?
If they win this weekend, that's going to switch. They win this weekend. If the Colts win this weekend, I think they could run the table and get to Atlanta.
I do too, because going into Arrowhead is going to be now. I know the Patriots don't lose in Foxborough in the playoffs, but this is a little bit different Patriots team than we've seen.
Fourth down.
Fourth down.
Down to the Elite Eight. Which weekend matchup are you most looking forward to?
I don't know, Kyle. Gosh, don't question.
Okay. College football playoff tonight.
All right, so we've got Colts, Chiefs, Cowboys, Rams, Chargers, Patriots, Eagles, Saints. I'm going to go with the first one I mentioned and the one we just talked about. I'm very excited for the Colts and the Chiefs. Very excited for that game. Pat Mahomes, Andrew Luck. Here's one thing. You're taking Andrew Luck from a dome, and you're putting him in the weather out there at Arrowhead.
Right.
You have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Now, every game here is compelling. Every game here is compelling, and with the exception, New Orleans is open as a 9-point favorite.
Oh my God! Give me the Eagles and the points.
I mean, I could see New Orleans blowing them out. They certainly did earlier this year, but this is BDN, dude. This is a different team.
What was the final score of that game?
Of the Saints and Eagles earlier this year? God, it was an absolute drubbing.
Yeah, it was like 41-3,
48-7,
48-7. Even worse, but that was with Carson Wentz at quarterback.
Yes.
It's very hard to beat a team twice in the NFL.
That was with Carson.
That was
Carson
that
Wentz.
Scrub. Former MVP candidate.
Number 2 pick in the draft, Carson Wentz at quarterback.
But it's very hard to beat a team twice. And I guarantee the Saints are looking at the Eagles the same way we all do. They're human.
Yep.
They're going, what the hell? Like, why can't
Momentum's
this team just
huge,
doesn't
dude.
lose?
How many times have we seen a wild card team win a Super Bowl, much less get to a Super Bowl? We've seen it a few times before, and this is the defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, and they got rolling a very similar way last year, winning a game in Atlanta that they had no business winning.
Now, we'll get to this a little bit later. Are you picking the Eagles to win? Should we say we'll save that? We'll save that for Friday.
I'm not, by the way.
We got a break. But can I tell you maybe my favorite thing to watch yesterday, the most amazing thing I saw all weekend? We can go over all the highlights. How about Jason Peters and Khalil Mack? How about the job Jason Peters did on Khalil Mack?
Did a really nice job.
Found myself, usually you watch the quarterback when the snap happens. I found myself towards the end of the game, especially when they were pointing it out more and more. I found myself when the ball was snapped just watching Jason Peters until the camera got off of him.
One-on-one with him.
One-on-one with him. And then when Mack was trying to slip Peters, it got picked up perfectly. Khalil Mack was effectively neutralized maybe for the first time this season. And Jason Peters doesn't get a ton of credit because he's an offensive lineman. But my God, we'll take a break. Kings fell to the Warriors. We'll get into that a little bit. We'll look ahead to tonight's game against the Magic. And why, as a Kings fan, you should be feeling really good. And if you're sitting there going, oh, Kings Homer Station, I'll give you facts. And you tell me if I'm wrong.
You can interpret those facts however you want.
339-1140 if you want to get in now and talk Kings. 1-800-920-1140. That's the Fire Wings hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Just wing it. We're back in a moment after this word from Hoblet. Sports 1140 KHTK.
Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Minnesota Timberwolves have fired head coach and team president Tom Thibodeau after their 108-86 win over the Lakers. Assistant coach Ryan Saunders, that's Flip Saunders' son, will take over as the interim head coach. Wild card weekend happened last weekend in the NFL. The Colts are moving on after blowing out the Texans 21-7 in Houston. The Cowboys held on for a 24-22 win at home over the Seahawks. Rookie quarterback Lamar Jackson struggled for the Ravens, but his last gasp comeback effort fell short in the Chargers' 23-17 win in Baltimore. And Bears kicker Cody Parkey clanged a game-winning 43-yard field goal off the upright to give Nick Foles and the Eagles a narrow 16-15 victory, that is, in Chicago. And your Sacramento Kings had yesterday off, but they're back at it again tonight at home against the Orlando Magic. The Kings looking to snap a 4-game losing skid. Our coverage on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 5:30. Kings Live is at 6:30, and then tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. It's 7:37. Time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, 800-551-3040. Those are your top stories. And now it's back to The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
All right, welcome back to The Drive. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140 on the Jiffy Lube text line. Coming up at 8:05, we'll get back into the NFL playoffs. Lance Woods is coming in studio at 8:30. Always like checking in with Lance. We will laugh. We will cry. We will look ahead to these matchups for your Sacramento Kings. Mentioned some of this earlier. Welcome in for those of you who've joined us since then. The Kings have played depending on what you look at, the 5th or 6th worst, or should I say toughest, schedule in the NBA. The remainder of the season, if you go by current records, the Kings play the 5th easiest schedule in the NBA. Think about that. Because they play in the Western Conference. Think about how hard it is to have the 5th easiest strength of schedule for the second half plus 2 games of the year, and you're in the Western Conference.
Yeah, they played, the Warriors 3 times. They've gotten the Nuggets twice. They've gotten the Thunder 3 times?
Yes, 3 times.
Clippers a couple times.
You said the Warriors 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have 3 games against the Suns, I think. The Bulls, the Cavs, the Knicks.
I want to note that one of those games coming up against the Suns
tomorrow.
I'm not going to say it's one of those schedule losses.
It's a trap game.
But don't be surprised if the Kings struggle a little bit.
It's a trap game. It's a second
third
night
game
of
in 4 nights.
You're right. Third game in 4 nights, second night of a back-to-back. They're on the road. They're starting that road trip off. Now, they should win the game, and they should be favored slightly in the game. I'll bet you it's going to be Sac -1. But it's a trap game. Orlando coming off last night's loss to the Clippers. We're getting them on the second night of a back-to-back. This should be, we're going to bring up schedule losses. This game, let's make no bones about it. We're not coming in tomorrow if the Kings lose, unless everybody gets hurt, knock on wood, unless something drastic happens. We're not coming in tomorrow if the Kings lose. And
that's it.
And sorry. If they lose tonight, that's a big deal. That's not the way you want to start this out.
Yeah, this is one of those games when you're looking at the schedule. You get Orlando, not a great team. I think they're 17-22.
Sounds about right.
Right?
I'll find that.
They're a few games under 500 in the East, and they're on the back end of a back-to-back. They're on the road.
17-22.
The Kings have lost 4 in a row.
They've lost 7 of 10. They've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, this is a game where if you're the Kings, you're going, this is a game to end this losing streak. They have to win tonight.
They lost 3 games to the Warriors this year. They've lost those 3 games by a combined 10 points. And it's not like Durant and Clay and Steph. What they get, 90-something points out of those 3 the other night. I think 91 points. They set an NBA record for most threes in a game. There's a lot to talk about here with this team. They're also more than likely getting Marvin Bagley back tonight. Vlade stated as much. Now, on the other end, on the negative end, Iman Shumpert did not play in the last game. Now, he hurt his finger. I believe he dislocated it during the game against Portland and kind of tried to keep that quiet and play through it. And you saw against Denver, he just wasn't right. And he wasn't right in Portland either, or against Portland. You also, and we really need to start looking at this. De'Aaron Fox is banged up. He is very banged up.
He's not right.
Yeah, I see some people out there saying, it looks like De'Aaron Fox is in a sophomore slump. No, he is not in a sophomore slump, and you saw that in how he started this year. And no, teams aren't scheming for him better. He's very banged up. He has a shoulder issue. Something happened. What was an ankle, leg? Something happened with him. 3 of 12, 8 points and 7 assists to go with a couple of steals. He still made himself very useful. But De'Aaron Fox is banged up, and we need to keep an eye on that. I also want to shout out Justin Jackson. This is a guy it's impossible to not root for, but he's been very frustrating so far in the year and a half he's been in the league. But very quietly, and we've mentioned this before, especially on the defensive end, he's been quietly much better over the last month.
Yep.
And breaking out for a career-high 28 points against the Warriors. We also have to shout out Willie Cauley-Stein. We called that on Thursday, and that doesn't make us smart. That was pretty obvious. 14, 13, and 6.
We're super smart.
Okay, we're super smart. I'll go with that.
Thank you.
This was a game we thought. I'll tell you this much. I expected him to have a better game against the Warriors than I do against Vucevic tonight in the Magic. That's one
Tough
of those things.
matchup tonight.
Yeah, Vucevic is going to get his, and you just kind of have to hope you can maintain everything else. Ben McLemore came off the bench and has quietly looked good. Buddy Hield is now climbing up the list. I think he's, in 7th or 8th place all-time three-pointers for the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, for the Kings.
And I believe he's 10 behind.
I thought you meant all-time. I was like, that's not right.
No, that'll be in a few years. The next guy for him to pass on the list, and I want to say he's like 10 behind, is in fact Ben McLemore on the all-time. Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but Ben McLemore.
Would not have.
No. Harry Giles in 12 minutes, 4 boards, 3 assists, just 1 personal foul, and 2 points. And those 2 points were on an amazing little fake move dunk.
That was sweet.
So,
and we got a little yell after the dunk.
Yeah, we did.
Which is all. I'd like
to roar.
Yes, some emotion.
So let's just run down these things. 4 straight losses to 4 playoff teams in the Western Conference, almost certainly.
Can I real quick point out one thing from the
please.
Warriors game? With about 43 seconds left and 11 seconds left on the shot clock, Bogdan took like this 30-footer with people around him. That was not a good shot. And he missed it. And like I said, there were 11 seconds left on the shot clock. And then you go down on the other end. The Warriors move the ball. They got an open look for Steph Curry in the corner. He missed it, but they used the whole shot clock. The point is, when you look at a game like this against a playoff team, one little possession like that is what it can come down to.
You had the Fox turnover.
Mm-hmm.
You had the
Fox turnover was really bad.
It was really bad. It was right into the hands of who was that? Was that
Draymond.
Curry? It was Draymond.
Yeah.
You had not 1 but 2, and Bogdanovich was caught by the clock, but you had 2 really bad, really low percentage Bogdanovich shots. And then you also, it's tough to point to it when the guy had 28 points, but you had a Justin Jackson heat check with, I think, 21 seconds left on the shot clock that didn't work. You can't, those are all little mistakes that are forgivable, but they pile up, and you have to play perfect basketball against the defending champions.
Well, and against any playoff team.
Sure.
And when we talk about these games where they're blowing these double-digit leads, it's not Willie. It's not De'Aaron Fox. It's not one guy. It's these little execution things that they have to learn going forward, and they have to watch the film and go, that's not a good shot in that situation. They have to be aware of that going forward, and they will once the game slows down and you can kind of pay attention to more things as the game goes on. But that was just a prime example of that to me.
You give me a game where the Kings shoot 47+% from the field. Now, looking at the box score, it says they shot 55.6% from behind the arc. I know for a fact, as I was looking at, that was over 60 with about a minute left. So there were a couple of heaves towards the end of the game that drove that below 60. Yeah. They shot 60% or above 60% from behind the arc for the entire game pretty much. 79% from the line, which has been kind of a weakness. And then this might be the best stat. They had 34 assists to just 8 turnovers, and they dominated the Warriors in second chance points. They didn't play a perfect game, but I would say the Kings played their A- game, and the Warriors played their A game, and the Kings lost by 4.
Yep.
The Kings played a great game.
The Kings played a game where if a couple of plays are executed differently, they win.
And you can say that in the overtime loss to Portland. You can say that in the 15-point comeback loss to Denver. You can say that when they gave the game away against the Lakers. Couple more numbers, and then we'll get into the point of the segment here. So they lost by a combined 10 points in 3 games to the Warriors this year. 4 straight losses to probable playoff teams. They're playing the 5th toughest schedule in the NBA. This last 13-game stretch featured 10 Western Conference playoff contenders, a combined 51 games above 500. Their next 8 games, 6 of those teams are a combined 31 games under 500. 5 of those 8 teams they'll play on the second night of a back-to-back. The Kings now have the 5th easiest schedule in the NBA for the remaining 43 games. This is apropos nothing here, but just in case you were wondering, the Sacramento Kings are 27-12 this year against the over-under. They have hit the over 27 out of 39 games. That's a 69.2% nice percentage. That's a full 6% ahead of second place Boston. Also, the Kings are 5th in the NBA against the spread at 22-16-1. I'm not saying that, by the way, to say go out and bet. That's not my point. My point is they are and have been confounding expectations on the high level, and they've been doing that through the first 39 games of the year with the 5th toughest schedule in the NBA. I would invite Kings fans, and this is subject to change if they blow it over the next couple weeks. But I want Kings fans, and I'm the father of pessimism, the Anthony Robbins of pessimists. You guys know that. But I'm going to switch it up here a little bit, and I might regret this. But on paper, this very likely could be a very fun stretch to follow the Kings. The hardest part of the schedule is over, and we're not even halfway through the year. They have earned this stretch now where they can get real healthy on the wins. They're 1 game under 500, and I expect that to change fairly quickly. You're looking at a 6 of 8, 7 of 8, 7 of 9, 8 of 10 type of stretch that they can pull off. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 on the Fire Wings hotline. Ted, thanks for joining the drive. Good morning, Ted. Ted!
Hey, Dave!
Hey!
Sorry, couldn't hear you.
It's okay.
So, hey, Dave, man, I love everything you're talking about. Here's the thing that's killing me as a Kings fan. Any semblance of defense on Saturday night, you win that game. Clark had a lot of, wide open threes for Curry, just losing focus. I mean, I get the whole offensive thing, and it's wonderful, but if you're going to win in the NBA, you have to lock down. You see what Golden State did in those last few minutes of the game. They locked the Kings down and understand that it's game. The game's on the line. We got to play some defense. I mean, the lapses on defense every single night are just befuddling to me. I get it. I love Dave Yeager, love what he's done, but there has to be some focus on defense, or this team cannot move to the next level. I just can't see it happening unless there's some sort of focus. I mean, just wide open shots.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you that I would like to see them play better defense, and we've seen them play better defense before. Let me give you a couple numbers, Kyle.
Can I give a take?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In quarters 1 and 4 of that game, the Golden State Warriors outscored the Sacramento Kings 74-49. In quarters 1 to 4, they held the Kings to 20 points in the fourth quarter. In quarters 2 to 3, the Kings outscored the Warriors 74-53. And in the the third quarter, they held the Warriors to 26. In the second, they held them to 27. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but holding the Warriors to 26 points in a quarter is holding them to an average of 104 in a game. And with the style the Kings play, that's pretty amazing. Second and third quarter, they got them. First and fourth, they lost them. And here's the thing. You're talking about in the Sacramento Kings, the highest scoring fourth quarter team in the NBA. The fourth quarter is usually where they live, eat, and breathe. They did not do that against the Warriors, and the Warriors know that. And Steve Kerr's a smart coach, and he knows that too.
My take on the Kings' lapses on defense at the end of the game is that the Warriors are hard to defend.
They really are.
The Kings are hardly the first team that they've gotten loose against. There were a couple of those shots that when Curry gets rolling like he was in the fourth quarter, they're like teams have said it all the time. You can't defend it because he brings the ball across the half court line and he pulls up. What are you supposed to do there? Because if you try and check him at half court, you're going to break your whole defense down.
Correct.
You're settling for a guy shooting a 30-footer, and he hits it.
And you have a hand in his face.
Like, what?
And you've got Kevin Durant over here, and you have Klay Thompson who kills the Kings over there. And, oh, by the way, there's Draymond Green just in case.
Everybody was hot.
Everybody was hot. They shot 50.5% from the field, the Warriors did. Even Draymond Green was 5 of 7.
From 3?
5 of 7 from the field.
Oh. It's like, what?
No,
I don't remember that at all.
They got 42 out of Curry. They got
20 in the fourth quarter.
They got 29 out of Durant, which is what? We're at 71, and then 20 out of Klay Thompson. That's 91 points out of your 3 Hall of Famers.
The Warriors are blowing most teams out with that kind of total.
Yeah.
Hey, it's time to get ready for the International Sportsman's Expo, January 17th through the 20th at Cal Expo. Get tickets at sportsexpos.com.
I think if I may finish the segment this way, I just want to take a moment and do something that I don't often do, which is I want to sit back and gather all the fellow fans around. Listen, there's plenty of stuff to get frustrated by, but we very easily could be on the precipice. Imagine these players with a little bit more experience behind them, growth, muscle. Imagine what happens when Harry Giles is playing 30 minutes a game when Marvin Bagley's back, which, by the way, you're getting you can't really count them right now. Giles and Bagley, very well, along with Fox, could form the core of this team moving forward. And, of course, Buddy Hield. You've got Fox, Giles, Bagley, Buddy, Bogey. Justin Jackson, by the way, scored 28 points the other night. I'm not saying he's going to do that every night, but when Vlade Divac says something like super team just young, nights like that remind me very much of 1998, 99, the 50-game season, when the Kings started to impress. You saw other teams being very impressed with Sacramento, and you felt like this was the start of something. The difference, this team could be better than that team, and this team is more homegrown than that team. Think about that. They actually have more potential weapons. We don't know who's going to get injured. We don't know who's going to develop. We don't know who's not. I get that. But this is the most excited I've been about a Kings team in probably 14 years.
They are at the point where they are one key veteran away from being a preseason bona fide contender.
And I think
you get a who's a Will Barton.
Sure.
Somebody who's just man, that's a solid NBA player.
Well, if they go out and get out a Porter this summer, they're going to be in every single writer's playoff hunt next year.
Or Harrison Barnes.
What?
I said, or Harrison Barnes.
Or, no. What? Really?
Dude, Harrison Barnes is super.
I thought you hated Harrison Barnes.
For the role that he would need on this team, he'd be great.
All right, we'll take a break. NFL playoffs next.
But also screw Harrison Barnes. I hate him.
Yeah, see, exactly. Right after this word from Fire Wings. I'm sick of your Harrison Barnes on us. Get out of here.
He's part of the death lineup, dude.
Warriors.
Part of the death lineup.
Sports 1140 KHTK.
Sports 1140 KHTK.